Before India became a free nation, its journey into the skies had already begun. On 8th October 1932, the Indian Air Force was established as the Royal Indian Air Force, marking the beginning of India's organized military aviation journey. From a small beginning with a handful of aircraft and Indian airmen, it would gradually evolve into one of the world's most capable air forces. The story now moves from legislation to the airfield. On the 1st of April 1933, at Drigh Road in Karachi, the Indian Air Force took its first operational step with the formation of No. 1 Squadron. At the beginning, there was nothing resembling the enormous air power we see today. There were just four Westland Wapiti biplanes forming the nucleus of air flight. The aircraft were modest by today's standards, but historically, they represented something enormous, the beginning of an organized Indian military flying capability. The first generation of Indian airmen had been trained at Britain's Royal Air Force College, Cranwell. Among them was Subrata Mukherjee, who would eventually become the first Indian Chief of the Air Staff. The fledgling unit was initially commanded by RAF officer Flight Lieutenant Cecil Boscia, while Indian personnel and technicians formed the foundation of the new force. There were no supersonic jets, no radar networks, no sophisticated weapons systems, no massive air bases. There were only a few aircraft, a handful of determined airmen, and an idea that India could build an air force of its own. That idea had just taken flight. Then came the war, and the war changed everything. The small air force that had begun with just a handful of aircraft was suddenly being called upon to defend a vast and increasingly threatened region. The year 1940 and the Second World War would become the greatest test yet for India's young air force. When the war spread across Asia and Japan advanced into Southeast Asia, India's strategic position became increasingly critical. The Indian Air Force was no longer simply learning to fly, it was being asked to fly. The transformation was rapid. Aircraft such as the Lysander were used to reconnaissance and army cooperation. As the war intensified, the IAF moved to more capable aircraft, including the Hurricane and later the Spitfire. New squadrons were raised, training expanded, and the force began developing the operational depth required for a much larger war. And then came Burma. From 1942 onwards, Indian Air Force squadrons operated in the Burma theater. Their missions included reconnaissance, ground attack, and close cooperation with ground forces. They supported operations in Arakan, Imphal, Kohima, and central Burma. This was warfare in some of the most difficult terrain imaginable: dense jungle, monsoon weather, primitive airfields, and an aggressive Japanese air and ground presence. The young Indian Air Force had entered a completely different world. It was no longer simply building an institution, it was building combat experience. By the end of 1942, the IAF was operating 5 squadrons. By the end of 1944, that number had grown to 9, and the men flying these missions were earning recognition for extraordinary courage. During the war, IAF personnel received 22 distinguished flying crosses along with numerous other decorations. The war had given India's airmen something that no classroom could provide: experience under fire. And that experience would become one of the foundations of the Air Force of independent India. And then in 1947, the skies changed with the nation. India was free, but freedom brought a new responsibility: the responsibility to defend the skies of a sovereign nation. From 4 aircraft in 1933 to a force that today commands the skies. From the airfields of a colonial era to the aerospace ambitions of a confident India. The journey of the Indian Air Force is not merely a story of aircraft technology and battles. It is the story of generations. Generations of pilots who looked toward the sky and dared to fly higher. Generations of air warriors who stood between the nation and every threat that came from above. And generations of engineers, technicians, scientists, and ground personnel who made every flight possible. The aircraft changed, the technology changed, the battlefield changed, but one thing remained unchanged: the courage to rise. From 1932 to the India of today, this was not simply the evolution of an air force, this was the evolution of a nation's confidence in its own skies. And the story does not end here. Because as long as India continues to dream beyond the horizon, the Indian Air Force will continue to rise. Jai Hind.